Welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Saturday here in Melbourne, because let's go across to our friends over in the US, and we're heading to Northridge in California. And of course, speaking with the CSUN women's basketball team, because we got the interim head coach of the CSUN women's basketball team, because it's Coach Mitchell. Thanks, Coach, for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me bright and early on a Saturday morning over there for you guys.
No, not a problem at all. Tell us, how's the preparations been like heading towards, I guess, this current season, which I'm sure is starting this week?
You know what? We have an extremely young team. We have 9 freshmen and only 3 players with, major Division I experience. So, it's been a growing process, a lot of fundamentals, a lot of film sessions, a little of basketball 101. But a lot of fun. We have young women that are working extremely hard, and we're excited to get the season underway.
And what's been the expectations? Considering you just mentioned you got 9 freshmen in the team this year, so it's almost a completely brand new team. Is there any expectations that you've put on the team?
No, I think, with the young team, you just try to, have them to look one game at a time. We have an extremely tough non-conference schedule. So we're celebrating all the small, improvements day to day, still working on team identity, roles for the players. So that's kind of taken a priority for us right now, even over, the X and O side of things.
Tell us a bit about the freshmen that you have on the team, and especially, I guess, how did you vision those freshmen to have an impact this year?
With 9 of them, I'll have to pull out the roster to go through them all. But, we do have a couple young women that were here on campus last year, Macy, Anaya, that do, at least have the Division I atmosphere, in their repertoire. So, for us, it's just trying to integrate them all in. I was hired in August. So that's a lot at this level to have 9 new freshmen. They're just get acclimated after, they had the COVID year last year where they opted out. So they haven't even played at this level. So for us, it's, again, just identity, work ethic, getting them acclimated to going to classes, because, again, just the Division I level is a lot different than, the high school level. Everyone's just as strong, quick. So, having them understand how to take care of their bodies, be in the weight room, and then also taking care of their academics. It's always a challenge in itself when you're dealing with 9 freshmen.
Now, one particular player I want to speak to you about, which I had a pleasure watching her in person a couple of years ago, and still on the team at the moment, which is Megan Henderson. What has she given to the team, especially the new freshmen, considering that she's been there and done that and been in the program for so long?
It is experience. That's something that you can't put a value on when you're working with a young team. Just leading by example, on the court, in the classroom, with her work ethic. We're asking her to play, multiple positions right now. And again, she's just accepted everything that we have challenged her with on a day-to-day basis. And, just a great young woman and very competitive. And as you mentioned, she's, a grad student for us. So she's seen a lot. She's played for a couple different coaches. And, I have to give her all the credit for being a great leader for our team at this point.
For you just mentioned that obviously you got hired 3 months ago now. I guess, how have you settled into the role?
I've been in the business a long time. I was the head coach at UC Santa Barbara. I was at Rutgers University, for 10 years. Since then, I've spent some time in the WNBA and over in South Korea on the international side of it. So it's been an easy transition for me. At the end of the day, you're trying to make sure these young women have a great experience. It's not about me. It's not about what I've done. It's what I can do to help these young women, fulfill their dreams on and off the court. We want to have fun with it. But there's also the competitive side of it that, all players want to play in postseason. You want to win games. So we're just trying to put it all together. where they can have the ultimate college experience.
Tell us a bit about the New Zealander, if you can. Actually, how she managed to acclimatise with the team?
Michelle's a great player. She's, powerful 6'3", back to the basket. Again, hard worker, on and off the court. Just a great personality to be around. She's still just getting acclimated. She was back home last year during COVID, so just getting used to the speed and the level of play here at the Division I level. But we look forward to her giving us some critical minutes on the low block as the year progresses.
A bit about your basketball journey. You just mentioned a little bit of it just a moment ago. How did you get involved in basketball, and why did you choose it?
I grew up in a small town in Arkansas. I was the first of my family to go to college. So for me, it was just a way to get out of a small town. It was something that I was very passionate about as a youngster, and then just got right into coaching. I played at Kansas State University. I coached there, won a world championship, Seattle Storm, with the LA Sparks, and then finished up last year with the Dallas Wings. So, I was very passionate about the game. I've had a journey, again, coaching at Rutgers, Western Illinois, UMKC, in the international market. It's just something I'm passionate about. I love the X and O, the technical side, and probably more importantly, I just love watching the young women mature, grow, fulfill their dreams. Whether it be playing in the WNBA, whether it's academic side, becoming, a lawyer, a doctor. Those things are why you coach, and the rewarding side of being in the profession.
One of your achievements would have been, being part of championship teams, as you mentioned, there with Seattle and Los Angeles. I guess, is there one that really stands out to you the most?
No. A former player of mine, Essence Carson, she was on the world championship team with the LA Sparks. So that's always special when you see your former players, have that success. So probably if I had to choose one of the two at the moment, I would go with Essence as a former player. And then with the Seattle Storm, Brian Agler was my college coach, and seeing him win one both at Seattle and LA is always very rewarding.
What have you got any highlights throughout your coaching time in college level?
Yes. Probably the most memorable was in 2007. Our team at Rutgers University did play in the national championship game against the University of Tennessee. We did lose that game, but our journey that year was amazing. Very rewarding to see, 3 players from that team being drafted in the top 10 in the WNBA draft. So I would have to go with that 2007 championship run.
You would coach some amazing players that are now in or have been in WNBA or now in the WNBA. Can you rank maybe a top 5?
Yeah, I'll go with, again, just my first couple of years at Rutgers, because they were the players that helped turn around our program. We had Kia Vaughn, Epiphany Prince, Mati Ajavon, Essence Carson, that all went, the top draft, top 10 in the draft those first couple of years I was at Rutgers. Since then, Kalia Copper, who was the MVP this year, I did recruit her. I did not coach her. And then as well, Benaja Laney was 6th player of the year, I believe, last year. So, it's hard to rank them because they all, have special times, and I'm still extremely close with most of them. So now they're all grown, they're in the profession, they're, mothers, they're business owners, they're, doing important things for society and using the platform of basketball to do that. So those would be just the ones probably off the top of my list, just because the initial part of my career.
The most rewarding thing about coaching is to see, players that you've coached doing big and better things, as you mentioned, and especially playing at a pro level. I guess, what have you learned from coaching, especially the most rewarding thing about seeing players going on to do be involved in pro basketball still, or even doing things that they love doing in their normal day-to-day lives?
Yeah, I think that is an important part. And I think that women's sports in general in the college level, we put an emphasis on the education and getting your degree and having something to fall back on, even if you don't go play at the next level. Um, so yeah, there have been many players that are doing great things outside of the basketball court that I'm super proud of. Off the top of my head, Brittany Ray, she's a nutritionist. She initially started thinking she was going to be a doctor. Heather Zurich now is in the medical field. So there's so many, again, I've been doing this for over 20 years. It's hard just to name them all by name, but the importance of an education and life after basketball is just as important as it is of playing it at the next level.
What does the sport of basketball mean to you now?
I think as I've been in this business a long time, you grow with just the experiences and knowledge and understanding that I think there's so much pressure on today's kids and society. So finding a way to communicate with them and helping them feel good about their growth, not only as basketball players, people. To me, that's more important than the wins and losses. All that takes care of itself. But knowing that the players understand that I care for them as people first. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not about me. It's not about what I know. It's about helping develop, the leaders of the future and young women to being strong women and being able to make decisions and being the future leaders of tomorrow.
Do you have any future ambition goals or that you want to reach in your basketball journey, especially as a coach?
No, I think all those have kind of been fulfilled. There's nothing else, and I don't mean this in any other way than what it is. There's nothing left for me to prove. I've been a head coach. I've coached internationally. I've coached in the WNBA. I think my job now is to prepare my staff to become head coaches, if that's something they aspire to do. I really enjoyed the international market and coaching in South Korea. So something, along those lines, if the opportunity arises. But right now I'm at CSUN. I'm leading this program and if it works out and I'm here for an extended period of time, I'll continue to do the same thing that I've done from day one. And that's just be super competitive, help our young women grow and help my staff, reach the potential or the level they would like to reach.
What attracted you to CSUN?
It's really interesting. They contacted me. I was waiting on an opportunity to go overseas and kind of was in the holding pattern with COVID. They lost their coach kind of last minute with some family issues. Word of mouth, they found that I was available. So I did not, and everyone, and we always say in life, everything's about timing. So they contacted me and it was really a no-brainer to come in and lead this group of young women.
What would be your advice to, especially Aussies over here that are thinking of going to college? What would be the one advice that you give to them if they inspired to go to play college ball?
I think just find the right people you want to be around. I think a lot of times people get caught up into the materialistic side, the size of the buildings, the conference, and that is human nature. But I think you want to go and play for people that ultimately care for you as humans first. The basketball side will always take care of itself. And again, just working hard, proving yourself, working on your skill set, whether you want to come to the U.S. for the academic side of it or to expand your basketball, skill set. There's a lot of great universities in America that can offer different things.
Throughout your basketball journey, I guess, have you seen any embarrassing moments by any of the players? Is there one that stands out?
Oh, that's a good one. I haven't thought of that. I have seen a player get ready to go into a game and pulls off her shooting shirt and, oh, wow, I forgot to put my jersey on. So, so that would probably be one. Other than that, maybe, you're in a wide open breakaway layup and you clank it off the backboard. We've all seen that on the bloopers, but there's Something that ultimately stands out outside of the, basic things that we see on the ESPN highlights.
Yeah.
Not so good highlights.
No, no. Throughout your time as well in basketball, is there like any comedians or any good singers and dancers throughout your time in basketball in regards to players?
Pretty low key. I'm not the entertaining coach. I'm not gonna get out there and show my dance moves. I want to keep all that top secret from my players. But my staff, I have a young staff that has great dancing skills, so I leave that up to them.
You mentioned that before about this has been the with 9 freshmen. Is this almost the youngest team that you've coached?
Definitely, yeah. I would typically say at universities, Division I universities, if you have 3 or 4 freshmen, sometimes 5, that's a little heavy. But again, because of COVID and the players opting out, so it's basically 2 years of freshmen that I inherited.
Especially with COVID and all that sort of things. How have the team, and especially yourself as a coach, how have you all managed this, like with the pandemic and obviously now with the return of fans after a season off?
Well, I feel like more things are opened up. I think Americans and just the world in general has learned that this is kind of the new normal. So we still take all the precautions, with our mask, all the things that are set in place by the CDC. So again, I don't think it's consuming everyone's like daily thought process, but we are cognizant of the fact that the pandemic is still, very much alive in the world we live in. And there's certain things that we can do to help protect ourselves. But, I think once we pass that year or 2 year mark and everyone just understands that we have to make the adjustments, whether it be, eating in our hotel room a little bit more, wearing our mask, different, protocols we have in place. It just, the players have accepted that and we've done a great job with it as well with our medical staff.
Coach, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome having you on the show. Please send our best wishes to your team, or amazing teams, and especially your coaching staff. And hopefully all goes well for CSUN and especially with such an amazingly young team. And we can't wait to watch how the progress goes for the Matadors this year.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate your time.
No worries. And that's Coach Mitchell there joining us there from the CSUN women's basketball team. And of course, we'll put up their team's upcoming schedule coming up, which starts this week. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.